geez, they've made a big deal out of this. Benji Marshall, West Tigers coach, not going too well at the moment. The old Tigers, our friends from Tiger Town. NRL journos they weren't very happy with the fact that Benji took off and went on holiday. Famously said that 9 to 5 coach, he's going to go home and spend time with his kids. That's his priority. They didn't like that either. This certainly didn't help his public perception. What are your thoughts? Because I've got to say, it's a family holiday. They had to buy.
Yeah, look, my first thoughts are he went over at a rubbish time because there was no sunshine. Like, it was warm while we were over there. It was really warm while we were over there. But, yeah, no sunshine. My second thing about this is it's the buy, right? It's the buy. And the players train up until Thursday on a bye, and then they get the time off, and then they come back. Fiji's 3 hours away, right? There wouldn't have been a blow up if he took his family to Perth, which is double the trip, right? I think he handled it okay, but he could have said something like, well, there's a big rugby tournament over there, and I was just going to have a look to find the next Ravalawa or the next Rudraja or the next Maikasiva or the next Viliami Kikau or the next Happy Coruscant or whoever that he wanted to go and say, right? But what can they achieve? If they're sitting there saying, the coaches and they should have been bunkered down in a room figuring out what's going wrong with the Tigers. Why couldn't he do that from Fiji over, you and I are sitting in two different rooms right now in two different suburbs, chatting, rugby league. Why can't he do that after a day out with his kids? I don't get this whole perception of, whether your team's going good or your team's going bad. He's still a human. He has a wife, he has kids, and this is his time. Like, school holidays are coming up, but in the school holidays, he's got games. This is a bye weekend. He has no game. I don't see a problem with it.
Look,
the Tigers are bad. I don't see a problem with that either. But I don't see a problem with Benji going to Fiji. Absolutely none.
I'm going to blow a bit of my own gear here because last year I accused the Newcastle Knights of not taking it seriously when a couple of their players, I think it was only Bradman Best in the end. It was updated.
He went over to get his leg tattooed.
Yeah, during the bye period, and Newcastle came good. So maybe Benji saw that and thought, let's give it a crack. He went to Bali, Fiji's further, maybe we'll go better. Ultimately, I have no problem with this. The one thing they said was, who's running the club? Because Shane Richardson was in England and Benji Marshall's in Fiji. Now, I would argue that Benji Marshall's their long-term coach, and you've got to look after this bloke. So if he's there pounding his head on the wall between 8 and 8 o'clock each day for 12 hours, he's going to burn out very quickly. Shane Richardson was in England, not for a holiday, but to try and shop their underperforming players that a previous regime, however you want to say, put together. A terrible roster that, with the greatest respects to the players who haven't been named, but we all know who they are, most NRL clubs would turn their nose up at them. They'll go to England and be very handy. We've seen a few big name players, big money players linked, and I think Richardson's over there selling that idea. So I think that's good. Okay, there's a whole board. There's CEOs, there's this, there's that. You don't need your coach and whatever Shane Richardson's position is, I don't particularly care, there during a bye week when there's other things to be done. Okay, optically, it probably doesn't look good. If the Tigers are 10-0 and Benji goes to Fiji, no one would have mentioned a thing. I think there's an agenda here by certain people in the media, and you and I have been very hard on the Tigers, and mainly because it's really funny and really easily. But they were mates with previous employees of the club without going into it. Again, everyone knows who we're talking about, and they know who these people are. They were interviewed during the week, and their photos and retweeted and stuff. This week, I think a person they don't particularly like went on holidays, and they made a big deal out of it. I think it's no problem in the world.
I love this from Benji Marshall that turned around and said, it takes us longer to drive to Canberra for a game than it took me to fly for Fiji. Absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. No issue whatsoever.
Well done, Benji.